My name is Lisa Apples. I'm a food journalist. I write for Food Inspiration, and today I'll be leading this workshop for you. Obviously, I'm not going to do most of the talking because we have, you can come stand here a little bit more. We have two lovely chefs with us, Philip and Karen, and they're going to talk about what local abundance means to them, and we can't wait to hear all of your stories, of course. So maybe, Philip, we'll start with you. You're the executive chef at Unilever Food Solutions in China.
Yes.
And maybe for the audience, can you explain a little bit what does local abundance mean for you, and what does it mean as a trend in China?
Okay. Actually, the local abundance in China, we have a lot of means. Not the culture, the eating habit, the freshness, seasonality, also the cost and the sustainabilities. But for the chefs, I think the freshness, seasonality, cost, and the sustainability is most important for us.
Okay. Yeah. And when we talk about local in China, I imagine there's so many different kinds of kitchens in China.
Yeah.
Can you talk a little bit about the differences in kitchens in China, and maybe explain a little bit more about that?
Okay. About the Chinese cuisine, it's actually is very complicated. In Chinese, normally we have 8 different cuisine, and the 8 different cuisines, they have different characters, totally different. Such maybe a lot of you guys know the Sichuan cuisine. Yeah, it's very famous because it's very strong character. They use a lot of the Sichuan peppercorn, chili, garlic, some fermented chili paste, a lot of ginger, pickle. They cook a lot of stuff. They cook a lot of stuffs. And in Sichuan cuisine, they have the 24 different flavor type. So it's very for Chinese chef, it's difficult to control all the Sichuan cuisine because it's difficult. And in China, the young diners, they every year they have different requirements. So the cuisine also we have a little bit of change every year, and also now is very popular cuisine in China is Xiang cuisine. We also call Hunan cuisine. Hunan cuisine is also very spicy, very strong, but they just use fresh chili. Lot of fresh chili to stir fry, and they use a lot of local soy sauce, a lot of garlic. They like the wok flavor. What we call the wok flavor. This dish is very popular and increased a lot in these years. Yeah, because young diners they like it. They like everything makes them very exciting.
Okay.
Yeah.
And Philip, you're also going to prepare a lovely dish for us today.
Yeah.
I think you can all smell the aromas coming from the kitchen already. We're going to talk about that later a little bit, and there will also be some time to ask Philip some questions. But I'm now moving over to our next chef of today, Karen Xu from Antwerp. Karen, maybe you would like to start introducing yourself and tell us a little bit about you as a chef and your restaurant &or in Antwerp.
Sure. Hi, my name is Karen Xu. I have a restaurant in Antwerp called &or. We have 27 seats, and we make local seasonal plant-based menu.
And can you describe what is like your true core value as a chef?
I try to do as much as I can local and seasonal, using the vegetables from start to finish, limiting my garbage output out there. I work with a lot of local farmers. I try to reduce my plastic waste as well. But yeah, that's how we run &or. It's a small restaurant, and we really make sure that everybody that comes in have some interaction with everybody that's working there. So we make it pretty personable.
Thank you. And we're touching upon local here often, but the word local is used a lot. But local is a very broad term. So maybe you can explain a little bit to the audience what local exactly means to you. Like, how do you see local?
The way I see local is, again, working with the season. So strawberries in the summer, watermelon in the summer. Right now, white asparagus is popping up in everybody's menu. That has about 2 months of seasonality. When you work with farmers, you could pretty much have a conversation with them. What are you growing right now? What are you excited about? And in return, I also get excited when they're excited because I could play with that items in my kitchen, which is also my playground. And then I get to showcase it for the diners.
That's so cool. And you said a little bit like we do watermelon in the summer and strawberries in the summer. Why is that? Can you talk a little bit about like using products at the peak of their taste?
I think everybody's experienced this in their own terms. When you eat a tomato in the summer, it's full of sugar. It's sun-kissed to perfection. It's not mealy. So I think I could describe that for everyone, right? A peach in the winter doesn't have the same aroma, doesn't have the right acidity and sweetness. So for me, working seasonality minimizes the manipulation that I need to do with the food. It's really, again, showing the vegetable at its peak. And just having fun with that. And really, when people are like, what did you do with this? For me, it's a simple answer of like a little bit of olive oil, some sea salt, and the dish is the dish.
And I can imagine that working so local and also so much in season, it really pushes you to be creative with certain products.
Right.
And you have this lovely story about where you had a lot of beets and you had to really be creative about what am I going to create with this. Can you maybe tell the audience a little bit about that? Because we're going to taste a beet dish of Karen after.
When I moved from New York to Belgium, when I was doing my ordering, I didn't know that you guys do kilos here, not pounds. So when my order arrived, it was a shock for my staff and I. Just beets keeps coming, and we're like, oh my God, are we going to be a beet exclusive restaurant? Or so anyways, we got to work, fermented some, made cocktails out of beets. Also, after juicing the beets, we dehydrated the pulp to make powders. You can use the pink powder for finishing sea salts and all that. We made kimchi out of beets, and we used that for staff meals. So my staff ate really well. It was a lot of beets, though, but you know, I think since last year, it's all gone by now.
And we were talking also a little bit earlier about the way you build menus according to the local abundance at that time that's in season. Can you maybe tell us a little bit about how your menu flows throughout the year?
It's a lot of conversations with the farmers that I work with. It took a while to build this relationship with them, but really for me it's a matter of when is it going to be available. And once I know that it's starting to grow, then I can already start asking for samples that I can play around in the kitchen with. And then once it's constant tasting and manipulating and changing the composition of the vegetables to make sure that it's a beet is still a beet. But really, once they tell me like, hey, the last harvest is coming, the next question is what are you planting and what can you plant for me for the next menu? And then with the other purveyors that I work with that source vegetables, not just in Belgium, also from Italy or Spain, I just tell them I don't want any vegetables wrapped in plastic. That way I also minimize my output. They bring it in crates. And to me, that's good enough.
Yeah. And you get the vegetables that are in season, that are locally abundant, and you get creative, and you and your team start making things. But then there's also the part when once you've made a beautiful dish, you want to translate it to your guests. And can you tell me a little bit about how the storytelling in your restaurant works and why that's important as well.
I think the best storytelling for my clients and I is whenever they eat something that they've never had before. So I think here in Holland, you guys have a lot of, and also in Belgium, you have a lot of, for example, water vegetables. You have zikral, you have salty fingers, you have sea bananas. So every time I put something that people have not had seen, because they get their vegetables from the grocery store, it automatically builds a conversation and a relationship between the two of us. And it's also connecting the farmers that I work with. Some of them live nearby but didn't know there's a farm there. So really, for me, it's connecting people through food.
Beautiful. And since everyone has their beautiful beet dish in front of them, maybe you'd like to explain a little bit more about what's the dish that people are being served right now.
Sure. Underneath is some miso dressing. The miso dressing is made with ramson. Ramson, I think it's Dutch, right?
Yeah.
Ramps in America. It's pickled in sushi vinegar, mixed with miso and sesame oil. The beets are encrusted with white and black sesame seeds, finished with red pickled onions and daikon radish.
I think go ahead, guys. Like start tasting.
Yeah, please.
Yeah.
If you want a second plate, let us know.
Of course, a lot of things are centered around using local products, and we touched upon like all the different techniques you use, but minimizing food waste is also like an important pillar in your way of working. Can you maybe talk a little bit more about why that is so important to you, also in relation to respect for the farmers and stuff like that?
Right. So since working with the farmers, I've really gotten to know how much effort and time that they spend to growing food. And so my approach in the restaurant is using everything from top to finish. And to me, that's my way of already thanking them and respecting their time. So a carrot, for example, I would take it even if it's an ugly carrot. To me, once you cook it, it doesn't have to be that straight line, perfect circles and skinny or fat. To me, what's important is flavor. And textures. So with the carrot, we use the carrot tops as well. We make pesto out of that we use for other dishes. Or sometimes we dehydrate the leaves and mix it with algae powder to finish our radish dish. But yes, in many ways you can use everything of every part of a vegetable, and that's what we do at the restaurant.
That's amazing. And if you look at like maybe chefs that are starting or chefs that are already working, what would you like to inspire them with when we're talking about the trend, local abundance, and the future of local abundance as well?
I think really don't get stuck in the kitchen. There's many other things to do. Get to know your food, get to know where it's coming from, talk to other chefs. Your kitchen is your playground. So I think for me, it's really play around, stay creative, and just have fun.
Thank you.
My pleasure.
And Philip,
yes.
Maybe you can tell us a little bit about the dish that you have prepared for our guest today.
Okay, sure. Actually, today I prepared a dish we call the poached the local hamash fillet with Chinese spicy chili sauce and Chinese tong with Chinese tong. Chinese tong is a kind of the seasonal herbs. The green one, maybe you will take you can taste later. In this dish, we have some. We use Holland the local fish and also with some Chinese seasonal the herbs mixed together. Yeah, in this dish you can taste the flavor contrast and also the coloring contrast. Yeah, in one dish. Okay. Yeah. In the button sauce, we call the chili, the spicy chili sauce. We use actually use some ketchup, some chicken liquid bouillon, and also we use a lot of the fermented rice. Yeah, the rice can give the special sweetness and some actually the alcohol flavor in this dish. Okay, yeah, maybe okay. Yeah, more. Yeah. Okay, okay.
Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome.
And while the dishes are being finished, maybe there are people in the audience that have some questions either for Karen or for
sure.
Philip
Yes.
around local abundance.
Yeah.
Are there any questions in the public for Karen maybe? No? Okay, well then, Karen, let's talk a little bit more about, obviously you are from New York, but you came to Antwerp to open your restaurant. Can you talk a little bit about what changed for you looking at locality and looking at local abundance, making that change?
I think I don't want to say that New York is just a little bit ahead. I think we're getting there here, but farmers market, for example, is really big in California, in New York, where actual farmers, have their stand and are very prideful about what they have on the table. And to me, there's that connection that's like unexplainable because they're so prideful of what they have. They would even yell across the table and say, "My avocados are better than yours," right? And here it's really, I feel like the Belgian farmers are a bit shy. So it kind of takes a little bit of courting to get to know them. And once you get to know them, they're so open and amazing. They even want to know what they can grow for you. And so now I'm working with some farmers where there's certain vegetables that I haven't seen here in Europe. And so I'm working with some farmers to grow that for me by next year. And I'm quite excited with that.
And I think it's also then really nice if you look at, like you're saying, like the Belgian farmers are maybe a little bit shy, that you have this advocate role to like make that connection between the people at home and the farmers and kind of connect them. Like you said, some people don't even know there's a farm so close by. And
right.
It's important to connect people with the food, I think, and show them what true local abundance really is. And have you, in your career, seen a change in the way guests perceive your food or local food or stuff like that?
I think most diners, when they hear vegan or plant-based, automatically their head goes to it's a hippie restaurant, or they're going to serve salads and paninis, but there's so much more to vegetables, because first you eat with your eyes. So vegetables have so much colors and textures and shapes. So for me, I'm already excited when people are like, "Wow, what is this?" And then they taste it. They're like, "Oh, I didn't know that vegetables could be that." I think a lot of people grew up with eating vegetables that are either overcooked or undercooked. And so it's a little bit, I guess, a discomfort, or I know some people that doesn't like Brussels sprouts because for the most part, it's steamed and it looks army green, so it's not quite appealing. But once you eat a properly prepared vegetables, I think your palate just explodes because it's so good. I don't know.
Thank you.
Okay.
And are there any questions from the audience for? Oh, there's one. I'll give you the microphone. There you go.
Thank you. I was wondering, so clearly you have a lot of passion for the connection you've built with local providers and so forth. Just wondering how you bring that across to diners, like how the dining experience in Andorra reflects that.
I think the first question I ask the diners is, have you been here before? Second, what's your favorite thing that you had here? And then from there, it's a natural, organic conversation. To me, when they ask, like, why did you move here, or what made you decide to open a plant-based restaurant? Are you plant-based? So for me, that's already a lot of things, right? I am not vegan, but I eat in that direction. I still eat seafood here and there, but only when I go out. To me, really, I'm trying to lower my impact, but that's the way I eat. I would never tell somebody how to eat. The way I cook is just the way I express myself. But as far as connecting with diners, it's really just through natural, organic conversation. And also sometimes I would tell them, hey, the farmer is right here and you can have a conversation with them. Maybe you can pick up a few vegetables on your way back to where you're going. And yeah, and then the bar, actually, the chef's counter becomes a bit chaotic because somebody could be there listening to our conversation. Now they're a part of the whole bar. So it's a great way to meet single ladies, actually.
And you were saying like that you ask your guests, like, have you been here before and what did you love the most?
Yes, of course.
And I was wondering, do you have certain dishes that often reoccur on your menu? Because I can also understand that because you're working so seasonally, that it's not always possible. So how does that work?
There's 2 dishes on the menu that I can never take out because I think if I do, my regulars will just bombard my email. What
are the dishes?
It's the radishes and the plant-based feta with house-made pandemie. It's those 2 things that I cannot remove from the menu. But the rest, I constantly evolve. Because for me, the concept as well is a potato. It's not just for mashed potatoes or potato salad or something. So every season I change the potato dish, but there's always one potato dish. And maybe some things will go back, but again, to me, there's so many other preparations to do with certain vegetables that are in season that I'd like to play and
be creative,
yeah,
I guess.
Sure.
Yeah. Are there any other questions from the audience? How's the dish, guys? Are you enjoying yourselves? Is it good? Yeah. Maybe you can tell us a little bit more also about, like, do you work with a lot of different farmers, or how does that connection, how did you start with that? Because I can imagine you come here, you're in Antwerp, you're from New York. How do you start making those connections and seeing?
When I moved from New York to Antwerp, I staged at a few restaurants just to see the difference between the law of opening up a restaurant in New York compared to Belgium. So I started with that. I frequented restaurants that I liked, and then eventually getting to know the chefs and the managers. So I said, hey, can I work here for a week for free? I just want to see and connect with your purveyors. And then from there, other purveyors connected me to their farmers. Other farmers connected me with other farmers, because some farmers are specialized in something. So I have one farmer that only grows white asparagus, green asparagus, and blueberries, and that's all he does. Then I have a farmer that does not grow any peppers at all. And then there's one that specializes in peppers. So I think about now, I'm working with 2 purveyors and 8 different farmers.
Wow. So I guess local abundance is also really about connecting to people, right? Because that's the only way to really, you're connecting your guests to your farmers, you're connecting with different farmers and stuff like that. So I think that's a big outtake for today as well. It's like local abundance is about seasons, it's about having products at the top of their flavor, but also like connecting people with each other and connecting to your food. So are there any other questions for our lovely chefs today? Well, then I'd like a really big hand for our chefs, maybe, if you have time. And feel free to come to the front if you want to taste again. I think there's some dishes left. Karen offered for the people who would like to have seconds. And I would like to thank you all for being at this workshop and enjoy the rest of your day. So thank you so much.
Thank you.
La tendencia que estoy trabajando, que escogí para la región, para desarrollar en la región, es Local Abundance o abundancia local. Latinoamérica es una región supremamente biodiversa, con diferentes ambientes gastronómicos, y creo que esto hace que sea una tendencia bastante afín hacia la región. Adicional a esto, considero que tenemos diferentes entornos gastronómicos porque somos regiones muy diferentes y esto hace que busquemos ingredientes que tenemos a la mano en nuestro entorno. Entonces creo que es una tendencia supremamente relevante que funciona muy bien para toda la región del norte de Latinoamérica y en general para Latinoamérica.